All right, here we go. Ryan Dahl here with another episode of PraiseCharts Live, and today we're talking to Fellowship Creative. And let me tell you, I know about this church. I've been at this place, and creativity is definitely on the mark for what marks this church. So I'm looking forward to talking to Sam Kelly. He is part of the youth ministry, part of the songwriting team, part of the worship leading team there. Gonna give us an inside look at this church that's probably a little unlike many others. So let's go with Sam Kelly and Fellowship Creative. Sam, welcome to PraiseCharts Live.
It is good to be here on PraiseCharts Live.
It's good to be here too. You are talking to it. I'm the founder of PraiseCharts. You're the founder of Fellowship. Maybe not. Almost.
Let's go. Yeah, I founded it in 1972.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty great. No, that's not true at all.
That's not true at all. But you know what? I'm looking forward to this conversation. I wanted to say this. I have been to your church before. I went down into, it's near Dallas, right? Dallas, Houston. Is that where you guys are from?
Right by DFW Airport.
There you go. Well, I took a friend down to Dallas and we were doing a little we were visiting some different churches, trying to get a little lay of the landscape. So, we started with Gateway. It's kind of like middle of the road, fairly safe, beautiful church. Then we went to Fellowship Creative. We came out, we were like, what just happened to us? That was insane. And then we went to Chuck Swindoll's church, and I was like, just felt like I could close my eyes, and I'm listening to the radio. He was literally on stage. Right. But I'm telling you, at Fellowship, I think I remember there being a live eagle on the stage. Now, does that sound like something your pastor would do? Just like crazy stuff. Oh, we still got you? Sam, I don't want to lose you. I'm just getting into this here. Do we have you? Sorry about this technical difficulties. I can hear you, Sam. Can you hear me? Oh, he's gone. He's calling back. Don't worry. We'll bring this back. We'll cut this out. Call back, Sam. Okay, back to just me. So we're talking to Sam Kelly, Fellowship Creative, part of the team there. But he has to call back in. So we're just going to wait. I wonder if we should just start this. Oh, here he is. Don't you worry. Oh.
Did we make it back?
We did.
We're back.
We're back.
Here we are.
No problem. Anyways, I don't know where we got cut off. I was telling you about when I visited your church. And how many churches do you visit where you actually remember something that happened? And I remember there being an eagle on the stage. So I was like, that's crazy.
What's funny is I was just talking to someone 2 weeks ago who was like, hey, the first time I came to Fellowship Church, there was a massive tank on stage, like a full-on army tank. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, crazy. Well, I'll tell you what, it was kind of encouraging. I read a little bio about your church, and I liked the simple sort of, purposeful kind of it was creativity and life change, and creativity breeds life change, and life change breeds creativity, and it's kind of that's the culture of this church that you're in, and it must evade kind of everything. Obviously, it comes from Pastor Ed, and then leaks out into everyone. But what's it like being in a place? Is your head constantly just exploding with, oh my goodness, I don't think we can actually do this. Nobody's ever done that before.
Yeah. I honestly think it tends to be the best thing in the world because you never know what is going to take place. We joke around that FC, Fellowship Church, stands for frequent change. Things are just constantly changing.
Yes.
Which to me in a creative world is fun because if it gets to be the same thing, we tend to get kind of bored. So we love trying new things and thinking about things that we don't think we can really pull off, but seeing if we can pull it off.
Yeah.
And sometimes it goes amazing. Sometimes it doesn't, but at least we tried. So
that's
we love
beautiful. Well, I want to hear it all. I mean, I want to hear about things that go amazing and some things that don't, because we want to encourage people who are listening in and thinking, oh man, I could use a little spark of change in our church, but everyone wants to, is comfortable doing it the old way. So I think anybody listening in here today, hopefully you'll be inspired that I'm certainly, even in PraiseCharts, probably more often than not, we try new things and they fail, but we got to just kind of keep doing some new ideas. So for sure.
100%.
Right on. Okay, well, since I'm doing this little interview with Fellowship Creative, I thought we had to maybe take a bit of a creative approach to this interview. So I studied up a little bit about the culture of your church and came up with 10 words. We're just going to take about 20 minutes, about 2 minutes on each word. And I just want you to shoot from the hip. I'm going to flash up a word. And these are going to be all about like family, ministry, church, music, worship. We're going to sort of cover the spectrum. But first thing that comes to your head, I just want you to, tell me, okay, this is the word that I'd want to leave with anybody listening in about this topic. Are you ready? So,
yep.
Are we good? Okay. Here's my screen. There's no word on it. I'm just going to pick one kind of like randomly. Well, let's just start with this. How about creativity? Why don't we just start there? Give me a little, what's your message for us around this?
My message for creativity would be, for far too long, outside of the church, creativity has been the forerunner, and it's time to bring that back in the church and let the church be the forerunner of where the most creative things are taking place. I feel like if we believe in the message that we believe, we should be pushing the envelope more than anyone else. We constantly say the message never changes, but the method should. We need to constantly be dreaming up new methods, creative ways to present the greatest story that's ever been told, because the world needs it. So
I believe it. Well, just tell me what's something creative that's happened in your life, in your church in the last couple of months? Just like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind that goes, well, there we were right in the middle of it.
Something creative that's taken place within our church. I feel like that happens almost every weekend here at Fellowship Church. But I'll say this, and this isn't necessarily a new thing, but we're excited to do it again. We're doing at the movies at church.
Okay.
So we are intertwining basically kind of the gospel stories through some of the most well-known blockbuster films throughout the month of July. And so we've got like popcorn in the lobby. The whole 9 yards. We're going to have like candy and all that stuff. People come in, go to church, experience some of a movie, and then Pastor Ed's going to be weaving in kind of gospel truths that are found in these blockbuster films. So,
right on. That sounds like
it's going to be fun.
Definitely you would come into the sanctuary going, well, this is different than what I was expecting. So I love it. Okay.
Exactly. For sure.
Good stuff. Okay, we're going to keep going through here. These might relate, but how about generations? What comes to your mind when you see that word and thinking Fellowship Creative?
I think about the fact that our goal is to raise up the next generation. We're constantly thinking about who's next. And I think, the same goes I just think about the church, and, sometimes there can be a fumble of the handoff to the next generation. But if we're not doing our job to raise up young worship leaders, people who are songwriters and speaking God's truth and bringing that in song form and creativity, then we're not doing our job. I think about the story of Joshua when it says that there was a generation that rose up that did not know the Lord. And our job is to make sure that verse never becomes a reality again.
Right.
To me, it's one of the most terrifying verses in all of the Bible. And to make sure that we as a church are building into the next generation. I have a bias towards that because I get to oversee our youth ministry. And I absolutely love it. And what I love is we've got so much buy-in from young people in our creative world. Like tonight at youth, it's pretty much student-driven, leading worship, leading the band, playing drums, playing guitar. I think it's the way it should be. So pretty special.
Beautiful. I love it. You're doing great. Let's just keep going with this. Okay, so I don't even know if you're married. Are you married?
I am married.
Okay.
I am.
Well, let's talk about it.
I've been married for 6.5 years.
How does your wife fit into this creative world that you're in?
I think marriage is, our Pastor Ed says marriage is the greatest thing, but it's also the hardest thing. And it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of work. And I think, within what we do in presenting the gospel and telling the story, so much of that is being able to have someone that is there beside you, do these things along with you, someone that's championing you, that's cheering you on, someone that encourages you and pushes you. And that's exactly what my wife does for me.
Really
I also have the
beautiful.
gift that she helps work on church staff as well and some of our marketing world. And so I think marriage is the greatest gift ever, to have someone that's, walking alongside of you, that's your greatest champion, and you get to be their greatest champion. And
Yeah.
I think it's special.
Do you ever find though, like, I mean, some people, the reality is they find like, oh man, we're exhausted, or like, what is the greatest challenge that you find in your marriage, without going like too deep into it all, but just give me a little bit of that side, some of the reality side.
Yeah, I mean, I think the greatest challenge would be what everyone else is dealing with. It's
Yeah.
navigating the rhythms and the
Yeah.
balance of ministry and life, and
Yeah.
carrying out. We've got two little boys, so being able to navigate that is always a challenge, always a stretch. And it sounds maybe a little over spiritual, but I think it's really important. Is one of the things that I always try to do is carry the why behind what we do.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling really tired and worn out and on the edge of burnout, if you remind yourself the why of what we're doing and why we're pushing the envelope and why we're trying to write new songs and why we're trying to push this new EP and why we're
Yeah.
trying to do this on a weekend and
Yeah.
trying to oversee youth and write songs and help at
Yeah.
campuses, and you're like, oh my gosh, my head feels like
Yeah.
it's going to explode. I just have to take a step back and remind myself of why I am doing this. It's funny to me that sometimes you can be in ministry and forget the why of what you're doing is to
Yeah.
see eternity's
Yeah.
change. We can so caught up. Hope this.
Lost him. Well, don't worry. We will get him back. He will call. I've got a few more words to go. This is going great. I'm loving this. But Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, and I don't know if maybe someone's downloading a video in my office here. But here he is. He's already back. We're going with this. Oh, come on, Sam. Talk about live. There we go. Come on, come back. Hang with me here. Oh, I'm going to pop him out. Hopefully he'll call back. So it's Ryan Dahl from PraiseCharts Live. We're talking with Sam Kelly from Fellowship Creative and having a great conversation about many topics: marriage, ministry, songwriting, all the great stuff. He's trying to call back, but his video isn't coming up. So I don't know. I'm just like shooting from the hip here, trying to make this work. Hang with us, folks. Don't leave. Grab a coffee. Like, I have Tim Hortons. Does anybody else have Tim Hortons? How about anybody out there in the chat world? Do you want to ask me a question or something like that? Let's pretend this is a solo show. Here you go. Oh yeah, I guess we could talk about the songs from Fellowship Creative, since that's what we're here to do. And if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask. But I'm just going to go flip over. There's my guest who's not here. We're talking about Fellowship Creative and a couple of new songs, this Man of Miracles and The Church. Man, I was listening to The Church today. If you are looking for a song that really is like theologically, this is about what the church is about. Let's look at some of the lyrics here. First of all, it's kind of like testimonial. He's saying, oh, here he's coming back. He's trying to come back with me. So one sec. No, not getting video. His video is not working. So he'll keep trying. Anyways, I remember the feeling. I remember the moment. I remember my guard down. I remember my eyes open. I gave it all. I gave it to you. What a great, just personal expression of somebody in the church. And then just like musically, it's so powerful. The church is the hope of the world. It carries the message of Christ to the earth. She was built with nail-scarred hands. The gates of hell don't stand a chance. Spend my life building the church of Jesus Christ till the day I die. I'll be building the church of Jesus Christ. Can you imagine your church singing this song together and just really embracing that message? So that is one of the new songs from Fellowship Creative. I've got Sam, who's from Fellowship Creative, trying to come in, trying to get his video going. Oh, there we go. Just a second. Okay, we could do this. Just a second. There. Let me see. Sam, what did you do? Just call me back on your phone or something like that?
Yeah, we're oh no, apparently our Wi-Fi is
Oh
not
yeah,
the best right now, so I
yeah.
apologize.
Well, you know what? Everybody's identifying you with you because they're like, "This is Fellowship Creative Church. We thought everything happened perfectly
Yeah,
there."
apparently
And
we need to get a little more creative with our Wi-Fi plans. So let's go on that.
okay, okay. Well, I've just been making stuff up as fill in time, but I liked
Yeah,
where we were going. What were we just talking about here? I had we were talking about generations, I think. Wasn't it this?
yeah,
And
and
then
we had marriage, and we were
oh
just
yeah,
talking
we went to
about
marriage, right.
just navigating, the rhythms of ministry and
Yeah,
how, you know, you can kind of feel like your head's going to explode sometimes, but carrying the why
yeah,
behind what we do so important because otherwise, you will find yourself getting burnt out.
yeah.
But that's one of the and creating margin for rest is important too. But anyways, that's what
Yeah.
I'd say to that.
Beautiful. Okay, listen, I'm going to go because I was kind of here before, but I had this word music. It's a nice segue to all the great music you guys have been working on. So why don't we just like pivot over to that just for a little bit?
I lo-
I was talking about this song, The Church, just now. It's right here. You can look at it and see
yep,
the words. I loved the chorus. I'm just imagining a church singing the chorus of this song that
yep.
is like, tell me a little bit about it. How are you experiencing this song in your church?
It's been one of the most special things I think from the moment
Really?
we brought the song in, just like for people. I mean, I think the first time we brought it in was off the back end of when we had just gotten back after the lockdowns. It's pretty recent within that time frame of when we first brought it into our church. And it was just such a great reminder of like, hey, let's not forget the most important thing.
Yeah.
We carry the most important message, and the church is the hope of the world. It's not the government, it's not school, it's not a college. Those
Yep.
things are great, but it's not the hope of the world. We've
Hmm.
got the world, and our job is to build and be a part of the church. And I love, sometimes it can be like you're kind of pulling at people who are in the congregation because it's an anthem for them to sing and them to remind themselves of like, oh yeah, like I need to build the church. So you can kind of see the light bulbs kind of start to go off
Yeah.
for some people as we've sung it. And we just got to record it at our C3 conference back in February. We've got churches from all over the world who come in, just kind of see what we do, and we recorded the live EP there. And just hearing and seeing so many people from so many different churches after the 2 years that we've all just been through come together in a room and sing "The Church is the Hope of the World"
Hmm.
was one of the most special moments that I've ever been a
Awesome.
part of.
Awesome. Well, we made the chord chart just for you, buddy. Matches all the right chords.
You guys are
And
the best.
yeah. And you know what? I'm just gonna say, so you need a little bit of help with your chord charts with this Man of Sorrows because you've got the key chords of C, G, F, but then it's an A minor, not an A. So once we do our version of your chart, we'll fix it
Hey,
so that it's musically perfect.
yeah, that's the not A minor.
No, there you go. It's an A minor.
Okay.
Go get your person to fix that one. So, how
Yeah,
about that song, Miracles, Man of Miracles? That's another one that's just come
yeah,
out. Yeah,
yeah. Just came out a latest single, and it's cool because for us, we're obviously a part of a church. We're connected to Fellowship Church,
yeah,
and so this song kind of stemmed from just seeing the incredible miracle stories of
yeah.
people who have been church. One got a family at one of our campuses who had a son that was diagnosed with cancer. Long story short, basically the doctors were like, "Look, there's no hope. We're going to try this surgery, but it's an absolute hail mary. We don't know if this is going to work, and even if it does, I think it's going to get all the cancer."
Yeah.
He just got it back 2 weeks ago that he's completely cancer free. Surgery went well, and the doctors well and truly came in and said, "We realize that there's something else at play here. This should not have gone the way it did." And
Wow.
just a cool story to hear. Obviously, the man of miracles, Jesus, and what he can do. And then also, Derek Bonneau is the one who wrote most of this song. He actually wrote it while his dad was facing cancer, and he actually passed away last year.
Mm.
And I remember the first time Derek had kind of shown this to us, and while his dad was going through this, it was like, man, this is a powerful song of like an anthem of faith. And then when his dad ended up passing away, it just kind of brought a whole new perspective of what this song was really about. of the fact that, the greatest miracle is the miracle of salvation, and the fact that we can walk through, a tremendous amount of pain, but still carry the hope that we have in heaven, and understand that Derek's dad is now healed and whole with Jesus.
Yeah.
And not saying it negates the pain or the grieving, because it does not,
Yeah.
but it does give us a sense of hope. A lot of these songs, sorry, not to talk your ears, but a lot of these songs came from a place of kind of realness. Our church has been through a difficult year and a half. Our pastors lost their oldest daughter the
Ooh.
beginning of, not this past January, but the one before.
Yeah.
And so our church fully felt, 34 years old, she's actually my sister-in-law, really, really tough time. And a lot of these songs kind of stem from, specifically one that hasn't been released yet, a song called Even So. And you're not supposed to have favorites, but it's definitely my favorite.
Hmm.
And it's just, you read some of the Psalms where David just lays his soul bare, and you're like, man, that's real. That's kind of what some of these songs have been, of just like, hey, let's talk about the landscape of life, how it has tremendous highs, but it also has tremendous lows. And the fact that you can trust God in the lows, you can trust God through your question mark. And yeah, so it's been special. And so back to the Man of Miracles, I mean, Derek was like, this is the greatest miracle of all, the fact that my dad with Jesus, and we have the hope of heaven. So
Mm-hmm. Love it. Well, sounds like a great collection of songs. And that we were talking about music, just riffing on that a little bit with some great new music coming from Fellowship Creative. I got a couple other words I was just going to go to. So I wanted you to just talk a little bit about this. I'm thinking about just Ed and sort of the vibe that he emanates in your church. So tell me about your pastor, and also then what does it mean for you to sort of carry that mantle of pastor in your ministry?
yeah, for sure. I'm definitely biased, but I think we have one of the best pastors on the planet.
Yeah.
One of the most creative, out of the box thinkers that I've ever seen within the church. He cares about excellence because of the message that we are responsible for telling, and
Yeah.
so carrying and holding a bar of excellence is incredible. And also, what I probably respect the most about him, he's also my father-in-law. So it's a fun relationship for sure, because not
Yeah.
only is he my father-in-law, but he's my pastor, my leader too.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is I've gotten a behind-the-scenes view of kind of his life, and what's most amazing to me is he's the exact same person as he is on the stage as he is off the stage.
Right.
To me, because what you see is what you get. He's as
Mm-hmm.
authentic as and he is shameless about standing for truth and speaking God's word into situations, whether it's popular or whether it's not. We're going to be a church that speaks the truth, and speaks the truth in love, but speaks the truth.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I would say.
I love that thought of being the same person on the stage and off the stage. And I wonder if that's the thing that so many people are looking for in their pastors. And if you're a pastor, even just taking that as a word of encouragement, like, can you be even more of that, hearing from you, specifically being the son-in-law of this guy that we all know, and being able to testify, because you of anyone sees him, you see him at family gatherings, at family
Yeah,
dinners, hanging out all the times when,
know it.
yeah, for sure. So hopefully that's a good encouragement. Well, let's just keep going. I got a couple other words here, and I'm loving this. So another word that I think just describes a bit of the culture of Fellowship Creative: legacy. What do you think of when you see that word, your legacy, your church's legacy? What does it inspire you to think about?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. I
Hmm.
think I think about the legacy that we want to leave is just a bunch of imperfect people that are committed to telling the perfect story,
Yeah.
perfect who came to this earth and died a sacrificial death for humanity, and doing anything and everything we can to make sure that the people in our world are aware of this story. We always say we'll do anything short of sin to get people through the doors of Fellowship Church to
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
the story of people. And the legacy that we want to leave is we did everything we can in our power to make sure that the gospel was heard and was told and was preached unapologetically.
Hmm.
And I think also when I think about legacy, I think about, you know, family and ministry, and how I think, people's kids and my kids speak volumes about the legacy that you're leaving. So I just think about, making sure that within our house, our two little boys, we're building a foundation of Jesus and God's word in their lives. And
Yeah,
that's what I respect so much about our pastors is seeing their kids, and obviously one of them is my wife. So I'm
yeah,
also biased, but I do think, man, your family speaks a lot about your legacy,
yeah.
and so yeah, that's kind of what I would say.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's end off with this one word, worship, which is really a lot of what all are the music, the church, all that we're doing kind of emanates about that. But just give me a little bit of a unique angle on worship as you are experiencing it through Fellowship Creative. What's
Yeah,
the vibe you guys have there?
um, I'll say this, and then I'll kind of talk to more of our creative team. But
Okay.
to me, worship is obedience, and it's so much. I think it's actually more important the way that you live your life on a stage than any moment you have on a stage.
Yeah.
That goes for whether you're emceeing, leading worship, a part of a band. Out of the overflow of your life comes what happens on the stage. And for far too long, we've seen the opposite of, like, you just turn into this person you want to be, and it's just this 20 minutes on a Sunday morning. It's so much more than that. I think,
Yeah.
the authenticity of someone who really lives a life of obedience dedicated to Jesus, then that starts to show when
Yeah.
you are on the stage. I'd so much rather have the off the stage stuff together than the on the stage stuff together, because I think that stuff will come.
For sure.
In regards to worship and what we do, again, creative, pushing the envelope, trying to, specifically when I think about this project, I think about worship in the middle of pain and
Yeah.
what that looks, think, again, because the story of what's taken place the past year and a half within our church and even on our team, there's just been a lot of really difficult things that our team and our church and members on our staff have been through. And so in a sense, this is kind of like a gift of songs to ourselves and to
Yeah.
people that are walking some really tough stuff, and navigating faith in the question marks of life, and navigating faith and the questions that you have that may never be answered, and
Yeah.
being able to worship through those things.
Yeah.
And in the middle of those things, I think sometimes are the most powerful moments of worship. I, for one, am thankful that worship isn't just reserved for when life is going well, but
Yeah.
oftentimes it's our cry for help, and our only help
Yeah.
when things are so.
It's beautiful. Well, with all the creative, crazy things that you do at Fellowship Creative, it's so encouraging to hear that at the end of the day, that sort of heart cry, that foundational mission is can be shared among so many different churches. Whether you are, got Eagles on stage and are, doing whatever dance parties or popcorn or movies, or if you're just more like straight down the middle, but the mission is the same, right? So hopefully people can be encouraged by that. Well, thank you for this. Just a little quick pass through what all that we've done. We've had a few little bumps along the road. Maybe we'll be able to delete those out,
Yep.
or maybe we'll just leave them in to remind people that even at Fellowship Creative, it's like, skipping around. But lots of great new music. The brand new one is Man of Miracles, and then there's The Church. Powerful song, and then lots of others that have come through. But then, we've just talked about a whole bunch of different words. You'll have to backtrack through your phone to see some great tips. Look at that. That's all of the words. I think we covered almost all of these. And
Yeah,
so thank you for that. Bam. That was in 36 minutes and so much great
there we
stuff
go.
from Sam Kelly. So appreciate you. Thanks for your heart. Thanks for your ministry. Thanks for your music. Say hi to your pastor is Derek Bonnet. Is that right? So Derek
Yeah.
and Ed Young, your pastor and father-in-law.
Oh yeah, you know it. Will
Awesome.
do. Thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're glad to partner with you guys. PraiseCharts and Fellowship Creative. FC and PC. Hand in hand. How about that, eh?
I
All
love
right.
it.
Thank you very much. This has been another rocky episode of PraiseCharts Live, but we did it. It's well worth watching. Hope you're encouraged. We'll see you later.